good influence on him. I have it just. She sees me and just feels like, okay, praise the Lord. We've been talking about changing your world. And I want to continue. We're going to complete our thoughts on changing your world this morning. And I want to speak to you for a few moments on the subject, finishing strong, and how important it is that you finish your journey strong, that you're strong at the end.
Yes.
And I believe that's what God has for your life. And Nehemiah and God's people oppressed through the opposition of their enemies. But they found one thing out, and perhaps you found out the same thing, in that their enemies did not give up easily. And Sanballat and Tobiah did everything they could in their power to discourage and to distract and to discredit Nehemiah. But Nehemiah refused, listen to me please, to allow his enemies to dictate his destiny. I'm going to say this morning. Don't ever allow anyone that doesn't love you, that doesn't care about you, and that doesn't support you determine your destiny. Can I get an amen to that?
Amen. Amen.
Don't allow anybody that doesn't support you or get behind you to keep you from doing what it is that God has called you to do in this hour that we're living in right now.
Right.
So I want to talk to you this morning about how to remain focused and how to finish strong in the midst of distractions, because distractions are everywhere.
Amen.
We've been studying the book of Nehemiah. We find ourselves this morning in Nehemiah chapter 6. I'm going to give you a real quick recap so that we can have some continuity as we complete this series of messages. The children of Israel are taken captive and taken into Babylon, and they're there for approximately 70 years before King Nebuchadnezzar finally allows them to go back home. Nehemiah is part of the captivity. He stays on for a while longer, 20 some odd years. But he gets news about what's going on back home. The fact of the matter that the walls were broken down, the gates were burned with fire, the people were living in disgrace, and Nehemiah gets a burden to go back to rebuild the walls. And so he goes back to rebuild the walls 92 years later. And he's there and he is endeavoring to complete these walls, but obviously there is some opposition. There's always going to be some opposition in your life. And that's important for you to understand. Amen. This life that we're living in is not a playground. It is a battleground.
Amen.
And we're going to fight a few devils along the way.
That's right.
Sometimes devils have like flesh and blood on them, people, but amen. You know what I'm talking about. But Nehemiah went back there and he had a burden. And what we found out was that God uses ordinary people who will, listen, who will sit down to cry, who will kneel down to pray, and who will stand up to act. And then we found out about discovering the leader that's on the inside of you. We believe that God has placed something on the inside of every believer.
Right.
A burden, a passion, a vision of something that He wants them to do. And you need to find out what it is, and then you need to begin to do it. Last week we talked about something so very important. We talked about defeating discouragement. The devil's always trying to get in on you, and if he can do